your hands together to welcome Miss Anupama Mehra, Principal, NCS Goa, Navy School Goa. Hello, ma'am. How are you?
Good evening, everybody. Neighbors of the Goa International Airport, smack bang on Airport Road from Goa. I come all the way from the land of the sun, beach and sand. Firm believer of Edward de Bono's simplicity. I love the way each speaker here put across their ideas so simply, and firm believer of the same myself that, complexity creates confusion and simplicity focus. I took away a lot of that from each speaker who tried to unravel the mystery of STEM education. Thank you for being, allowing me to be a panelist, and I'm ready for whatever viewer questions that you would have for me.
All right, then. So straight into our viewers' questions. Our viewers are very interested in knowing, how do you think schools can prepare to encourage the teaching staff members to orient themselves towards implementation of STEM education, and what kind of professional development can teachers undergo?
Ma'am D'Souza just spoke about NEP. Taking a leaf out of her talk, the roadmap is there. We are talking about critical thinking. We are talking about interactive classes. We are talking about experiential. This is already there in place. So starting from whatever we have and wherever we are, we can just start taking it on from there. Simple problems, and the way Apurva unraveled the entire complete definition of STEM, very basic tasks can be done in in the classroom to get in that temper, that thinking and orientation. I'll just share of very few things that we do in school, and it's a live example of how we do it. Teachers definitely need the empowerment, because technology, as said by one of my colleagues, we need to be doing it ourselves. We need to learn to work as teams first, for example, or we need to collaborate and get the whole collaborative atmosphere in school, or the theory of constructivism. We need to work on it as mentors ourselves. Are we doing it, or working in islands? A very small thing. We need to encourage a simple thing like group seating in class. A very simple, move away from the assembly line of desks and chairs. There was a very poignant picture by one of our speakers here of a teacher-centric classroom. And then, very basic here. So teachers have to adapt to that change. Management have to adapt to that change. The mentoring and the teacher training will come. We are already there. We are having so many coding. We are having so many teacher training workshops on technology. We are collaborating with Microsoft for Google certified trainers. We are using all the apps possible, right? So we are getting there, but it's the basics that really matter. If a child comes up and tells you, I want to understand how the Sahayikas are throwing away waste, or are we segregating waste, or how much tea, coffee, and tea leaves is being used by the tea club, or how big is my football ground? There you have it. You are problem solving. You're asking questions. You're already orienting the little generation towards these everyday activities of the class. Dr. Ethan's activity reminded me of a Beyblade, like a top spinner, like our kids play with, right? So imagine getting art here, or making simple installations. The moment a child wants to move away from a specific classroom setup, do we teachers encourage it? Do we want change? Or are we going, I understand it's a curriculum-based, syllabus-based, syllabus-defined, but can we break the mold? And it comes like a top-down approach. Are we ready to take risks? So my first earnest request to every teacher out there is, break your own mindset, your own mold. Every principal needs to do that. I think that's where we need to stop. Workshops to ho rahe hain bahut. So many workshops are happening. It's here first. Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for such a powerful and such a relevant response, and also bringing up the issue of the curriculum, which is the point of our my next question to you also. What are some of the changes that can be made in the curriculum flow to accommodate STEM education? Please, if you could spend some time on this subject and share your insight with our viewers.
I feel the subject basket that we are opening up in class 11 should be done in class 8. It should be done earlier because children do start orienting, and we have seen, like we do it in our schools, we let the child spend a lot of time on what they love to do. There are no barriers. Of course, there is a timetable, otherwise the whole school schedule will go berserk. So there is let that happen. Let there be lesser boundaries for children to confine themselves with. So if we have a child going in for sports, for example, let us handhold the child and rise above the curriculum. Let the curriculum be there. There is an excellent curriculum in place. CBSE is doing a fantastic job in skilling. There are skill hubs, there is hybrid learning, there is art integrated projects. The roadmap is there. How are we implementing it? So let the subject boundaries be there. Let the syllabus boundary be there. It's the method of implementation is what needs a change, right? And syllabus does get covered. In fact, there are reduction in curriculum section in NEP, which beautifully talks about teaching the core essentials. Let's keep it and define it as good to teach, must to teach, getting the core concept so that the child is successful in the long run, and then breaking down barriers. I think that will help. I'm not against a curriculum implementation. It is there. It is there thanks to the education think tanks, and it's beautifully done. It's the implementation and the freedom for every educator to be able to implement it, and the flow of it. Yes.
To our next question, our viewers are curious to know, in a country that focuses so much on syllabus completion, does STEM education stand a chance? You've already hinted on it, but please, if you can elaborate a little more on that and answer our viewers' question, please.
If we look at what our speakers said, STEM education is not a separate subject. It is an integration and application of all the activities that we are already doing. The roadmap is there. It's just the incorporation. The syllabus does go along, and in the process, you are teaching our children so many other things, whether it's art or whether it is music or whether it is the tinkering labs which are in place, or whether it is the various exhibitions and science exhibitions and art exhibitions that school do. It's just defining it down and changing the pedagogy. So STEM education is happening. We tend to treat it as a separate subject or a separate entity. Just integrate everything and amalgamate everything, like very beautifully put by Dr. Ethan. There are these separate activities which are in the form of various subjects. Put them together as one project and you have STEM. So it's not a separate entity. It's all about integration. So we can finish syllabus to an extent, yes, until unless we are board bound, 10th exam board bound, and that also, thanks to CUCT, has lost its relevance in class 12th. My children question, why do I score? What is in it for me? And I honestly sometimes have this conversation with my class 12. You're actually right. So with that, we've already broken down the myth around the class 12th examination, right? So it's just 10th. And why should we treat 10th as just as a stepping stone to choose your stream? There is so much more that you can do. So let the curriculum be there. We just need to integrate ourselves beautifully and go along.